Okay, I just don't know any way else to say that. So maybe I should put a disclaimer. As a matter of fact, I'll say it right now and throw it at the beginning. Some of this content you may deem inappropriate for your children under 18. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you have not already, let's keep this party going by liking, subscribing, comment on this video, and share it with somebody who might benefit from this, because man, I've got so much to do. This is the 5th time I've recorded this video. I just took a border run, a visa run. Basically I took 12 days and went to Malaysia and then to South Thailand. That's for another video. But I did, learn and edit some things along the way. That's why you haven't gotten this video yet. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and share the budget of my dad and my budget while we were in Thailand. He's still in Thailand, Chiang Mai. That's where I was. So I'm going to share these budgets with you in the same video. I told you I was going to do them separately. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put them together. Okay guys, and in this video, we're going to cover your basic stuff like your rent, electric, water, Wi-Fi right off the top. But later in the video, we're going to cover a little bit of healthcare expenses. That's going to be important to a lot of people, especially if you're my age or older, like my dad. That's why I'm including my dad and my budgets in this same video to kind of get a side-by-side comparison. I hope that helps a lot. And then we'll talk a little bit about your visa runs, and I cover that fully in another video, but we'll touch on it a little bit in this one. And that's coming up right now. Let's get into it. So I'm recording this from outside my local pet cafe in Dalat, Vietnam. So you're going to hear some people, you might hear a little music, you might hear some dogs chirping in the background. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. And so let's go ahead and dive on into this. So first item on the monthly budget is going to be rent. Okay, so my rent whenever I lived in Chiang Mai was about 8,000 Thai baht, which equates to around 223 US dollars. Now, equated is the key word. I looked at the exchange rates, and so since all this tariff and trade thing has been going on with the United States, it's really killing you in Thailand, I know. So right now, just based on exchange rate, if Thailand hadn't raised their rents any at all, you're looking at a difference. What I was paying for 8,000 baht as 223 US dollars. Today, that same price would be 247 US dollars. So that's just on the exchange rate only. Chiang Mai, also the prices there are going up a little bit. So just keep that in mind as we talk about these things. My dad's got a room right now in Nomad, which is where I was. It's a place very hip. There's a lot going on there. It's a place where you can roll out your front door and you're in the middle of everything. As a matter of fact, at night, the street he's on is very much a party street, so it can actually get loud at night on the street he's on. Not all of Nomad is like that. The place I lived, a few streets down, not like that, only really that street. But he is paying right now 245 US dollars per month for his place. Now, his place does not have a kitchen, which is not uncommon in Thailand because a lot of people just grab and go. So things are very quick and cheap to grab at a local vendor or a local restaurant and just take it home with you. So if you've got anything in a room, it's going to be a refrigerator. We went and purchased a microwave so that he could kind of keep those things and heat them up as he got them. So we got him set up there. But the next place he's going to go, we're going to make sure that he has the things, the amenities. This is a no amenities place. The amenities are you're in the location and you can go wherever you want, right? So the next place we're going to get him in a few months is likely going to be a place that's a studio still, or maybe a 1-bedroom, but it's going to have a full kitchen. It's going to have a washing machine on site. It's going to have a swimming pool, fitness center, the works on all that. And it's still going to be close to, like, say, a 7-Eleven, which you roll out any door in the city and you're close to a 7-Eleven. But I think that's important too, because you get times of torrential downpours or super hot heat and you need food, you don't have it. 7-Eleven is a great bet. It's cheap, it's convenient, they've got really good, actual good food, and you can take it home with you and cook it, heat it up. They'll also heat it up on site for you, something I forgot on my last trip. That'll be in another video, like I said. So anyway, the next place, if you want a place like that in Chiang Mai and you want it in Niman, expect to spend closer between 350 and 400 US dollars per month. You can get something a little cheaper than that, and it'll be a little further walking distance. But in this area that I'm talking about in Niman, that's the going price. But you can get them in other places in Thailand. The Central Festival Mall is where a lot of high-rise apartments are going. I mean, borderline luxury. These places are great. And that's one place we're thinking of moving him. And that's going to run about 350 US dollars after your conversion rate. You're looking at about between 10,000 and 13,000 Thai baht. Okay, now what that does, it gets you close to the Central Festival Mall where you have access to a ton of food, a lot of activities and everything. But if you're wanting to go other places in the city, it is a grab right away, and those are generally running around $2.50, give or take, US dollars per ride, right? So $5 to get you to and from, plus whatever you do there. So you kind of want to balance that out, and convenience and the price, add it all together and decide what works best for you. But that's what you'll find just about anywhere you look, is that's going to be kind of your baseline for a decent place, very livable, and it can go up from there, but you can definitely find places in the price range I'm talking about. Okay, utilities is next, and this can vary a lot. Chiang Mai has months and months of the year where the weather is fantastic, and it may get up to 90, right? But at night it may drop to 60. So your operating range there is generally in the 70s or low 80s, and it spikes at 90 and then drops, right? So very, very good weather in Chiang Mai. I would say about 8 months out of the year. The other 4 months or so, it's going to be very hot, and there is a lot of rain. And just to give you an idea, my dad's electric bills, they range from 35 US dollars per month to $135 a month US, right? So in the months, I would say between November and March, you're going to be closer in that $35 to $50 range per month for your utilities, and then it's going to shoot up pretty quick, almost overnight. So once April hits, and then you keep riding through that kind of hot, rainy season, the rain is actually a benefit, and they come in downpours a lot of times and then leave. So you do have benefits from the rain that are different from a sliver of time where it's only hot, right? But from April until, I would say, October, you're looking at closer to that $135 USD range. And this is for a studio apartment, not a big place. So the bigger you get and the more AC you use, I mean, this is AC that's causing this, aircon. So whenever you have to use it a lot, obviously you're going to spend a lot. Everything else is not going to affect your electric bill hardly at all. Okay, so something to keep in mind there. There's a range. So budget for the worst, and go party with the excess when you're not spending that much, okay? Let's pretend you're doing something like I am, and you're living somewhere else, and you're traveling to Thailand to stay for a month, right? You're not living there full time, right? So you're not signing a lease or anything like that. Expect for the electric to possibly be included in that price, okay? So you're gonna spend more per month, but just check, because it may be including electric, right? So, but if you sign a longer lease, this will be 6 months and 12 months generally, then you're on your own on the utilities, okay? The same thing applies to the next category, which will be your water and your Wi-Fi, next two categories. So we'll just put both of them in here. So included in short-term stays, but I would say your water about $15 USD a month. That's what my dad pays for his water. And Wi-Fi, if it's not included, expect to go to AIS, very good quality Wi-Fi, and spend $30 USD per month on that. So that covers us through rent, electric, water, and Wi-Fi. Okay, how about food? Now this is where it gets tricky, right? Because I don't know what you eat. I don't know what you're gonna eat. You don't know what you're gonna eat either. So you come to Thailand, you start trying the food. Number one, the food in Thailand, a lot of it is very spicy. Some of it you can spice down, some of it they just make it that way and it's just spicy, okay? But you can find plenty of good food that's not spicy, just like my dad has to do. He can't have spicy food, right? And he eats local. He eats local almost every meal, right? So it can be done. It's great. It's tasty. But if you're somebody that can't shake the cravings of your pizza, your Mexican food, your hamburgers, your ribs, all of your Western style foods, and you can't shake that, then you need to budget how much you're going to be eating that type of food. Because if you eat local food and you pick the right places and they are plentiful, you shouldn't have to ever spend more than $3 for a traditional Thai meal. Right? Now you can get much lower than that. I'd say as low as $1 for a full-size traditional Thai meal. So $1 to $3 for Thai food. Okay, guys, so it's me again from the same cafe, my little pet cafe, next day. Yes, you can spend more money easily on three US dollars on a Thai meal, okay? But you don't have to, right? So you get a pad Thai, you can spend, maybe not even $2, up to $3, or you can go someplace and you can get it for 7, 8, 9 USD, right? So, but I'm just telling you, there's plenty of places that you can get food like this for cheap, real cheap. And I'll be doing an entire video on the food. I can't wait for that one. Anyway, back to the other guy. But if you're going to try to weave in some Western style food, you're going to your starting point for most Western food is about $7 US, and that ranges up to $10 to $12 US. I wouldn't say it's as expensive as eating in Western countries, but I would say if you're going to save money, you're only going to save 20, 25, maybe 30% off. So it's not going to be these meals that you can't even make yourself at home in the West for the price you can get for Thai food in Thailand. Okay, it's going to be up there. Some of that's because the ingredients cost more and are imported, and some of it's just going to be because they know that Westerners are the ones buying, and when that's the case, the charge is greater. Okay, so you just pay a premium for that type of stuff. Think of Western food as a fine wine, and you're just going to pay for an imported fine wine. Okay. So, but what I put down here, my dad eats a lot. He's a big man. He's bigger than I am. He's going to spend upward of $400 for every bit of food and snacks that he eats, right? So that's pretty good, right? That's about, what is that, about $12.50 USD per day based on a 30-day month. So, but you can eat for much cheaper than that. You can easily get away with $10 a day on most days. If you did that and you budgeted the 450 USD, you can afford to weave in some of those Western style meals. Okay. Okay, so I separate off drinks from food because you can always drink water, right, in your life. But a lot of us, like me, I'm a huge coffee guy. I've become a huge tea lover. Occasionally, I'll have a soft drink. And in Thailand specifically, I drink a lot more beer because and smoothies, things that are cold, right? Because even if you do siesta style living where you're only out in the morning or you're out at night and in the day you avoid the heat, you stay indoors. When you do go out at night, a majority of the places that you're going to be going and hanging out, they're going to have food, but their drinks, you'll want something cold. You'll want that smoothie, that avocado pineapple smoothie. Oh my God. avocado melon. It's amazing. I mean, these smoothies are something else, dude. And also beer. And depending on where you get the beer, then you can spend a lot of money on beer. If it's at a restaurant, you're going to maybe usually spend a little bit less than if you go to a bar per se, especially a bar with the pretty women that kind of try to get you to come in and sit with you and all that. If you ever do go to these places, these they call them lady bars, right? And you have you expect to go in there and buy a lady a drink, right? You're not going home with them if you don't want to. Those options may be there for many, right? But if you go to a lady bar, just recognize that every person that works there gets paid based on the drinks you buy them, right? So go ahead, buy them a drink, a beer or whatever, and sit and talk with them for a little bit. It's going to run you more money, right? So there's plenty of options out there where you don't have that. So if you only want to just sit and chill with your own drink, go to those places, I would say, all right? So what did I budget for drinks? I budgeted 150 USD per month for that. Okay, so that is an expense that can add up. If you're not into any of that type of stuff, then that's definitely a place that you can save. Definitely not something you have to do, have to have. Okay, and you can always, if you walk around with a little backpack like I do, that's got a fan and some essentials and all of that, and throw you in there a bottled water or two, right? So that if you do get thirsty, you can drink. You don't have to buy anything when you're out walking around, people watching, going to chill at a temple. Like there's a lot to do where you don't have to spend money when you go out at night. But generally, if you just want to chill and relax long term, you're going to want to do that with a companion. That companion being a drink, smoothie or beer or whatever. I'm just telling you. I'm not a big drinker, but when I do go to Thailand, I drink a lot more. One other note on drinks that I forgot to mention is if you're a cocktail drinker, this is the case in anywhere in that I've been in Southeast Asia. You're going to pay quite a bit more for cocktails than you do for beer. You're like, well, duh, same way in Western, in the States or in Europe. Okay, but for example, in Thailand, you can find a beer for a couple of bucks, right? But you can't find a cocktail for less than 6 or 7 US bucks, right? Dollars, US bucks. Anyway, most of the time you're going to spend between $7 and $12 on a cocktail, right? So that can be pretty pricey if you're not a beer drinker. You might want to start drinking some beer. Anyway, wanted to throw that in. Okay, and now the last little expense in what I call the kind of basic 8, right? Where you've got, rent, water, Wi-Fi, electric, food, drink, transportation, and cell phone, right? Connectivity, right? Being able to call your cab or call someone or use your maps, right? So these are your basic 8 for living, right? So now I have taken a little bit of liberty, like I said, with the drink part of this, but you're still probably, unless you're exclusively a water person, you're going to have that expense as a part of your daily get around lifestyle in Thailand. Okay, so but your phone is going to be a basic, let's just say $30 a month. Get AIS, it's the best, it's very reliable. You can actually use it as a substitute for Wi-Fi if you don't have, or you're choosing to not get Wi-Fi. Maybe you're in a place that has a shared Wi-Fi. That's what my dad has, and it's almost always good enough for him. But you can always use mobile hotspot. You've got unlimited supply, virtually unlimited supply of that included in your AIS cell phone plan. So if you do get the AIS Wi-Fi, by the way, then you have access to their super Wi-Fi networks. It's similar to Charter, Xfinity, those types of places. They have kind of Wi-Fi hotspots in different places. Your big place where that would come in handy would be the mall. Malls are a great place to spend a lot of time because they have all the food you need, a lot of entertainment, and is a great place to spend a few hours in the heat of the day. So if you're not the type of person that can wake up in the morning, work or do what you're going to do for a few hours and then come home and rest and sleep and then go back out at night, if you're wanting that middle of the day taken up, a mall is a great place in Thailand. Great mall culture, air conditioning inside the mall. So you can use their AIS Super Wi-Fi anywhere in the mall. So that's really great. Okay, but basic cell phone coverage, $30 standard. Okay, and you've heard from my last video on living in Vietnam, banking fees can add up if you're not strategic about it, right? There's ways to minimize this. I recommend the Wise card. I'll do an entire video on kind of how I manage basic banking type of situations and finances in both locations, right? And being able to do the travel around the different countries, right? So Wise card, very important, I think, ingredient in this pizza pie of living in Southeast Asia. Okay, so but my dad has a retirement visa and as such also has a Thai bank account, and this saves him a ton. I can use the Wise app and get money in his account for pennies, literally pennies on the dollar, right? And that's compared to every time you walk to an ATM and pull out cash, having to spend a base price of $8 US just on that ATM transaction fee. And your bank might have a conversion rate. Well, they will have a conversion rate on top of that. Make sure you deny the Thai conversion rate. Just use your own bank back in the US. They're going to have better rates. The ATM on site is still going to charge you $8 USD to pull that money out. Okay, that's part of it. So when you do pull money out of the ATM, pull as much out as you think you'll need up to its limit, whether that's 500 or 1,000 US dollars. Okay, most Thai ATMs, I didn't have any problem pulling money out using my US Bank debit card. And same with my dad, he also has US Bank. Okay, so now let's talk about some expenses that are going to just vary widely from person to person. Okay, but I'll give you an idea of what you can do, what things might cost you, and you can decide if you're an up or a down, from there. So, entertainment and extras. Now, subscriptions to things like Netflix and HBO Max, Disney Plus, whatever you use, which is going to be the same price no matter what, but you will need to have a VPN. I recommend NordVPN. That's a virtual private network, so it basically tricks your network into thinking it's from another place. You need to make sure that you have that connected to the United States if you want to enjoy things that are under contract with the United States. You have to decide these things on your own, right? So that's why it can vary widely. You've got an $8 subscription to here and a $15 subscription to here. You want ESPN Plus, these are things you need to budget. And by the way, these are things that if you don't want to take these subscriptions, you need to get rid of before you leave to go to Thailand, because you will forget about them. And then a year will have passed and you've spent 250, 300 bucks, no exaggeration, on little teeny tiny things that you don't even use anymore. Okay, so this can be anywhere from movies, which are only a few bucks, maybe $3 or $4 in Thailand, but maybe you want to take a trip outside the city to go see one of these epic temples. That's going to cost you a transfer fee to and from. There may be an entry fee into some places, little museums, things like this. It adds up over time. Oh, and another thing here could be massage, right? Massage could be something that you get addicted to and do 2 to 3 times a week. And, because they're so cheap. So it's that, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like the cheaper it is, the more times you use it. So maybe you're not saving much money. So, but instead of spending 60, 80, 100, $200 on an hour or 90-minute massage, maybe you're spending 10, 12 bucks on that. Right? Another great way to escape the heat in the middle of the day. But a lot of these places, they're open early and they're open late. If they're open really late, they might be more of a funny massage type of place, but most of these places are going to be gray area, meaning you get legitimate massages, but you have the option, once they do their thing and get you a little excited, to get you finished off. Okay, I just don't know any way else to say that, so maybe I should put a disclaimer. As a matter of fact, I'll say it right now and throw it at the beginning. Some of this content you may deem inappropriate for your children under 18. Okay. All right, so we covered that. Okay, so these next few categories I split up, but this falls under the category of general health care, and that is, of course, going to be different for everybody. Me, I am pretty healthy, knock on wood so far, right? Whenever I'm in Thailand, I may address any anxiety that I have with cannabis, right? So I'll go to a cannabis cafe, or I'll just go and grab some and have it so that I have some at home, right? And I can take it as needed. Sometimes I take it as wanted, right? But not as much as I used to. Just not trying to preach to you, but you can smoke too much. No matter how great it is for your needs, you can smoke too much cannabis and have bad side effects. They can even counter the thing that you're actually trying to address in the first place, like anxiety. A little bit helps your anxiety, too much drives it. Okay, so anyway, just throw that out there. Okay, but I'm relatively healthy. My dad is not as healthy, right? He's 78 years old and he has some nagging ailments and things pop up. Give you an example. He had a disgusting sore on his foot, and I might throw a picture up in here, but I'll probably save it for our healthcare discussion that's going to happen at a later date. And he's been to the doctor 3 times. They've given him advice on treatment. They've cut some out, and then they went back in this past week and cut more out and gave him some medicines and things like that. So far for this incident, he's spent $167 US. My dad's health care is a per incident payout, right? It's not a comprehensive health care plan. It's difficult or impossible to get something like that at his age. We've kept Medicare for him, which he still pays out of his Social Security every month. And so for something big that we need extended treatments, we'll have the option of getting him back to the States to do that. That's how we opted to take care of that. But for $1,900 US, he's on a plan that covers him per incident. The deductible will be $3,500. So a price that we've deemed manageable to help take care of an incident or two. If he exceeds that, then we're looking at, okay, let's get him back to the States on Medicare, his supplemental insurance, and we'll take care of any year-long cancer treatments, for example, or something like that in that manner, okay? So I budgeted in here for him $200 US per month for health care, plus the $150 that he's paying for Medicare. When I was looking for normal insurance like we have in the States for myself, what I was finding was that it was between 400 and maybe even up to 700 US dollars per month. You're not going to save money on health insurance. Now, there's some travel insurance. We're going to get into this whenever I have an expert on here. There are options out there, but for the most part, you have to rethink how you generally manage healthcare if you're from, say, the US or some other places. So other healthcare needs, these are things like as you get older, maybe you have, say, incontinence, or you have pharmaceutical medications that you need. Your pharmacies in Thailand, most things you walk in, you show them what you need, they'll find you that or a substitute. You may have to go to a doctor to get some things prescribed, a few things, right? But again, those are going to have very cheap options. And the most expensive option always is going to be your pharmacy at the hospital. So if that's the only place you can get it, fine. right? But if you can get it at just any general pharmacy, you go to these general pharmacies. And you can expect to pay for most medications between $2 and $3 USD up to $7 or $8 USD per month for, you know, a month-long, you know, panel of medication for that, okay? So that'll give you an idea, just some basic stuff. And like I said, healthcare deserves an entire channel, honestly, just to give people an idea of how it's different and every case scenario. You know, I went to a doctor here, a clinic here in Dalat, Vietnam for COVID. I didn't know it was COVID at the time, had some suspicions. When we went in, I went through all the testing at this clinic. I was in and out in 45 minutes. I got all the medicines that I needed. I had my blood taken, I had the swab, I had blood pressure. Everybody took care of something different inside this one clinic, and I was out of there and I spent $35 USD with no insurance. You know, I had insurance, but I didn't use it. So that'll give you an idea on per medical incident, how much you might spend. Okay, and last but not least, you've got to factor in that travel, right? Which I have an entire video on, and you want to check it out because it can vary widely. But you've got basic visa runs is what I call them, and then the visa run and have some fun, where if you're spending a little bit of money and leaving the country and you're traveling to a brand new place, maybe you don't want to cross the border into Malaysia from Thailand and not go to Kuala Lumpur for a few days or a week, or maybe you want to take that visa run and decide you want to go to Singapore for the weekend, right? Or you want to go to Vietnam for 2 weeks or a month, right? So these type of things, depending on what you decide to do, where you're traveling from and to, these can add up. And so I've put your basic monthly expense, because you have to do this in the two countries, we'll say Thailand and Vietnam. You have to leave the country every 3 months unless you found a long-term visa, right? Or on a retirement visa like my father, right? So visa run and have some fun, budget $250 per month. If you're just crossing a border and coming back, then budget $150 each time there and back. So that's $50 per month. So what does that get you? Well, my budget was between $1,250 and $1,500 US dollars per month, and that would go up a little bit now, since, like I mentioned earlier, the exchange rate and then just cost of living going up slightly in Thailand, right? My dad, he spends more than I do, right? So he's, in this instance, I've added, you know, up to $400 more a month for him, for his basic needs, what he needs to be able to live comfortably enough in Thailand. And then it can go up, you know, from there, of course, right? So he and I were pretty basic. Anyway, that sums it all up, right? So check out my video on my cost of living in Vietnam. Maybe you decide you'd want to spend most of your time there and visit Thailand and save some money, okay? So check that video out and be sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share it with somebody that might benefit from this info. I'm going to be dropping a ton more videos on my personal experiences, okay? So I appreciate you guys joining me again today. We'll see you in the next video.